All right, let's get right into it. When you look at a diamond, what do you really see? I'm not just talking about the sparkle. I'm talking about its entire origin story. Today, we're going to be gem detectives, and we're going to unmask a diamond's true identity.
Okay, so imagine this. I hand you a perfect, brilliant diamond. Could you tell me, just by looking at it, whether it was born deep inside the Earth, billions of years ago, or if it was cooked up in a high-tech lab just a few weeks ago? Yeah, spoiler alert, you can't. Not a chance. The difference is 100% invisible to the naked eye. So how on earth do you solve a mystery when you can't even see the evidence? Well, that's where we have to put on our detective hats. See, the real clues, they're locked away, deep inside the diamond's crystal structure. We're going on a hunt for the chemical fingerprints that tell the whole story.
Any good detective will tell you, you have to start at the scene of the crime. Or, in this case, the scene of the creation. To find the clues, we first have to understand exactly how these lab-grown diamonds are made in the first place.
So we're going to start with a method that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a science fiction movie. It's called high pressure, high temperature, or just HPHT for short. And really, the name tells you everything you need to know. Scientists are literally recreating the insane, intense environment of the Earth's mantle, just, inside a lab.
Think of it like a cosmic pressure cooker recipe. Step 1. You take a carbon source, something like graphite. Step 2. You dissolve it in this super hot bath of molten metal. We're talking iron, nickel, or cobalt. And then, for step 3, you just crank up the pressure and the heat to insane levels, and that forces those carbon atoms to snap together and crystallize into a diamond.
And that right there, knowing how they're made, is how we know exactly where to look for the evidence. That whole molten metal bath thing, well, it leaves behind tiny microscopic traces. These are the chemical fingerprints we're looking for.
Which brings us to our smoking gun, clue number 1. This is the most definitive piece of evidence that a diamond was born in one of these HPHT furnaces. Let's call it the metal's mark. So what is it? Well, as that diamond crystal is growing, it can actually trap these teeny tiny droplets of the molten metal it was growing in. If you look under a microscope, they just look like little dark specks. But here's the wild part, the real kicker. If there's enough of this metal trapped inside, it can actually make the diamond magnetic.
Think about that for a second. A magnetic diamond. That is an absolute dead giveaway of its lab-grown origin. There's just no natural diamond on Earth that does that. It is an open and shut case.
But okay, the metal isn't the only little stowaway in there. Sometimes an element called boron sneaks in, which can give the diamond this faint blue nuance. It can even be added on purpose to make a really vivid blue diamond. And a cool side effect? It can make the diamond electrically conductive. Then you've got nitrogen. That can pop up too, giving the stone a kind of yellow or brownish tint. These are all extra little clues that help build the case.
Okay, but any good detective knows you have to rule out the alternative theories, right? So what about the other big method for growing diamonds in a lab? Looking at this is actually going to make our case for the metal's mark even stronger.
So this other process, it's called Chemical Vapor Deposition, or CVD, and it is a totally different ballgame. HPHT uses insane pressure, right? Well, CVD uses a low-pressure vacuum. And remember that molten metal bath from HPHT? CVD doesn't use that at all. It uses a hydrocarbon gas. So what's the most important takeaway here? There is no metal catalyst involved.
And that's what makes everything so crystal clear. Since a CVD diamond is never grown in metal, it can't possibly have those little metal specks inside. It's just impossible. So this confirms it. Our number 1 clue, the metal's mark, is exclusive to the HPPP process. Case, as they say, is closed.
All right, so we've gathered all our evidence, we've looked at the alternatives. So what? What's the final verdict? Why does all this microscopic detective work even matter? Well, it really all comes down to a single word: certainty. All these little chemical fingerprints we've been hunting down, they give us undeniable, scientific proof of where a diamond came from.
There's just no arguing with the science. You put it all together, the metal specks, the little traces of boron, the hints of nitrogen, and gemological labs can look at any diamond and say with total 100% confidence, this came from the Earth, or this came from a lab. No guesswork needed. So when you think about it, the entire story of a diamond, whether it's a billion years old or just a few weeks old, it's written in this secret chemical language inside the stone itself. So maybe the next time you look at a diamond, you won't just see the sparkle.
You might find yourself wondering, what secrets is that one waiting to tell?